Welcome back to another episode of We Don't Know What to Watch, the podcast where two guys watch random movies and talk about them. And this is one of our mini episodes, sometimes maxi episodes, where we talk about what we've been watching lately. And with me, as always, is the amazing, the incredible, the surprisingly muscular, the Vince McMahon to my Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kyle Mulford. How you doing, Kyle?
Can you smell what the... Oh, wait, that's the wrong wrestler. I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing well,
You
thank
been
you.
watching some WrestleMania or what?
I've been reading a book about wrestling, so it's been on my mind a lot lately. It's pretty good so far.
Nice.
So I
Uh,
guess did you watch any movies?
I watched a few, and literally just a few this
I've
time.
also watched a few. And by that, I mean two. So I guess I'll go first.
Okay. Hey, Noah, what you watching?
Why, thank you for asking, Kyle. So, first movie I watched was Rent, live on Broadway. So, this is a pro shot version of the last performance of the original Broadway run of Rent.
Cool.
I had seen the movie, but I had never seen the stage show before. So I know these are a little bit different than, say, a traditional movie because you can't judge them in quite the same way. I thought it was a good show overall. I mean, I'm just don't care for Rent, but I can admit it was extremely well done. And that music is always and will always be super catchy. So ultimately, I think if you like musicals or if you like the show Rent in particular, this is a great version that was captured of the live show. I'm just not much for Rent in at all. So I mean, I like the music, I just didn't like the story that much.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of the same way. My wife really loves the show, but I can take her to leave it. I did see it on stage at the Paramount in Cedar Rapids at one point, or no, maybe I saw it over in Quad Cities. But yeah, I saw it. I saw it on stage once. It was a pretty cool show.
Yeah, regardless, it's great music. Okay, and then next on my list, I watched the 1987 cult classic that I'd never heard of called Sister Sister, starring Judith Ivey and Jennifer Jason Leigh about these like a Southern woman and her younger sister who run like a vacation slash boarding house next to a swamp, so very much an old school Southern Gothic feel with a neo noir edge to it as well. But then all of a sudden, a mysterious man comes to stay with them, played by Eric Stoltz.
And what's the neighbors, Tia and Tamara?
I wish T and Tamara Mowry were there, but no, they were not. But no, so it's only about 90 minutes long, and I was watching it because the Criterion Channel has something called a collection called erotic thrillers. You know, with like the late 80s and the 90s stuff like Fatal Attraction, or pretty much every movie that just about every movie in the 90s that Michael Douglas was in.
Nice. The Michael Douglas erotic thriller era.
Yes, with his most erotic thriller, The Game.
I love the game.
It's not bad. I like it for the most part. It's just not my favorite Fincher film.
And
But
that's
anyway, so there's plenty more erotic thrillers. I'd seen a couple of them before. I'd seen Body Heat, also known as Kathleen Turner does funny things to dumb men. It's one of my favorite subgenres.
I have not seen that movie yet.
I think at one point she kills Ted Danson. I think it was Ted Danson. Just some recognizable like sitcom star gets killed or
Nice.
something.
So those are the two you watched?
Yes. What'd you watch?
I watched a couple things. First off, I watched Called Jane from 2022. This one is Elizabeth Banks plays a housewife in the 60s with a lawyer husband, and she has a complication with a pregnancy. They were pregnant on purpose, but she has a complication, and she can't get an abortion because it's the 60s. And she finds some secret abortion clinic and then after getting an abortion there, she starts working there and helping them. And this was actually based on a true story. It was decent. It was a good solid movie with a very obviously this was made in 2022, so this is a very pertinent subject right now. So I'd give it a recommend.
All right, that's cool. I like Elizabeth Banks. I know I haven't seen her more in like comedy stuff. It'd be interesting to see her in a more dramatic role.
Yeah, she did a good job in this. So yeah, I'd give it a recommend. It's a solid movie.
And she directed the feminist classic Cocaine Bear.
Yes, I still haven't watched that yet.
It's glorious.
But I did watch on my Blu-ray collection the 1964 classic Zatoichi and the Chest of Gold.
I was wondering when you were going to bring up the next one of those.
Zatoichi comes to a small town, and the tax man's coming down on them. So they gathered up 1,000 Rio. I don't know how to pronounce that type of money. To pay off what they owe, and it gets stolen. And Zatoichi comes and saves the day and figure out who stole the money and gets it back and all that good stuff. So, same as usual, just good solid movie, just fun.
Nice.
These have been a lot of fun to go through.
Is he ever going to cross over with Lone Wolf and Cub?
No, but they I think they were real life brothers, and Lone Wolf did play like a one-armed bandit in one of the movies,
Nice.
one of the first movies. And then get this, I went to the theater.
You went to the theater?
I did.
When was the last time you did that?
I think when we saw Akira last year.
Oh, that's true.
And I saw my first 2023 release, and it was called Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. I went with my kid and then a friend of mine and his kid who we play D&D with. So it was kind of a little D&D group going.
That's fun.
And this is Chris Pine plays a bard who gathers a band of merry men and women to go on a quest to save his daughter. This was a lot of fun, actually. I really enjoyed this movie, and it had a lot of good jokes in there for D&D players, but it was very accessible to people who have never played before in their life.
Nice.
So it was just a good, fun action adventure movie. It felt like a throwback '80s adventure movie.
Like Sword and the Sorcerer?
Sure.
Or Hawk the Slayer?
With a bigger budget.
Or Kroll?
And better effects. No, this was a solid start to my 2023. So I am okay with this start. I liked this movie and I would recommend it for everyone, not just D&D players.
Nice.
And then on DVD, I watched the 1980 film I think it's called Kagamusha. This is a 1980 Akira Kurosawa film. How do you say that? Daimyo? A daimyo over a Japanese clan in the 1500s. He passes away, and his body double, can't speak tonight, who was a thief that they kind of took when they saw that he looked just like the daimyo. He's persuaded into pretending to be him for 3 years after his death to just keep other clans from attacking them because they'd be a leaderless clan. This was good. It's a Kurosawa movie, and he's somewhat of a good director.
Somewhat.
It wasn't my favorite, but it was still a solid movie. I think it went on a little too long, but another solid recommend.
So I assume it was then remade in the U.S. as Dave, where a guy has to pretend to be the president and then falls in love with Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, that'd be a good double feature.
It's like the same movie.
All right. Yeah. So I've noticed that this is going to be a list of just solid movies, nothing great, nothing sucky. So. Because then on DVD, I also watched a 2022 film, The Inspection. And this was written and directed by Elegance Bratton, inspired by his own experiences of being he was booted out of his house by his mom when he was 16 and he was homeless. And when he was in his mid-20s, he went and joined the Marine boot camp in the mid-2000s. Just he needed to be somewhere, where he felt like he meant something. And, he had to go through the turmoil of being a gay man because, he couldn't hide it for long. And they figured out that he was a gay man in the military and got some crap from the other Marines. But it was a good little story and an interesting story and another solid movie.
I assume it was just like Stripes.
Yes, it was just like Major Pain.
Nice.
Chugga chugga choo choo. Then on Prime, I watched the 1991 French film Delicatessen.
I know I've talked about this one before.
Okay, I couldn't remember if you have or not. Post-apocalyptic France, an unemployed circus clown gets a job in a dilapidated apartment building where the butcher of the shop below serves human meat to his tenants. It's an absurdist black comedy, and I'm not really sure what I think of it. I liked it, but the first half of it really introduced some weird and wacky characters, but I didn't feel like there was a lot of coherence. But then the last half was just a kind of a black comedy slapstick farce. Just this weird, bizarre thing that I was like, oh, I'm kind of enjoying this now. Maybe if I had a rewatch knowing where it was going, because I wasn't really sure I knew it was like a black comedy, but I still wasn't getting the tone from it that they were going for until halfway through the movie. So
yeah, don't forget the guy in the frog room.
I had no idea what that was about at all.
I don't think anyone does.
Just a guy with water on his floor and a bunch of frogs and a snail on his head while he sleeps.
That whole cliche.
Right. And his character didn't have anything to do with any of the other characters throughout the movie,
I
other than the
assume
kids were
that's
trying to catch a frog out of his room.
with the frogs. I assume it's Jim Henson's origin story.
Oh yes, one of those was Kermit.
That's got to be it.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence about what I thought about this. I did like it, but it's a thinker.
It's certainly something.
And then finally, I watched on Amazon Prime. I watched the 2021 film Pennywise: The Story of It, and this was just basically a documentary about the making of the 1990 TV version of It on ABC.
Oh, okay.
And this was just made a couple of years ago, and it was kind of cool. Being a fan of the movie, I really enjoyed this. It was about 2 hours long, and they got the director and set designers and other people who worked on the film, and then a lot of the actors to come back, and they even had Tim Curry on here for a couple little short little snippets.
That's my next question.
Yeah, he was here. Of course, we did not get, sadly, John Ritter or Jonathan Brandis.
Mm-hmm.
But I think most of the other actors showed up on this, so it was kind of fun to watch and see them reminisce about the making of this, and then showing some behind the scenes stuff and all that. So it is about 2 hours long, but I would recommend it. It's on Amazon Prime.
Nice.
So, and that's all I watched the last couple of weeks.
Did they answer the immortal question of, do you have Prince Albert in a can?
Do you have Prince Albert? Uh-huh, 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 uh-huh.
It's such a distinct laugh. It's so weird.
Oh, I love Tim Curry. I wish that Tim Curry would have come back and done Pennywise in the new movie and just had the whole movie directed the way it was, but then have him play it the way he played it in 1990.
Nice.
That would have been horrifying.
Would have been something.
In the best possible way. Whatever happened to Tim Curry? Did he get sick or something? Because he didn't sound great.
I know. I think there was like a stroke or something in 2012.
Okay, because he sounded like he might that was my guess, is that he probably had a stroke the way he talks. So that's too bad, because we all miss him in the movies. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's what I've been watching. What do you got on the agenda to watch next?
Well, I was looking at my Blu-ray shelf, and I realized I have an embarrassing amount of Criterion Collection Blu-rays that are still in shrink. So I'm just going to try and start working through those finally.
Awesome. I'm going to work on my Criterion and watch the next Satuichi.
We're going to get through all of them eventually. We have to, right?
Yeah, I'm on like 6 or 7, so I've got quite a ways to go.
All right.
I've got nearly 20 of them left to watch still.
What if you started like double featuring them, so you watch 2 every day?
I should. They're only an hour and a half each.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so that's I'll watch one of those and whatever else I get my hands on. But till then, you can find us online. I'm on Twitter at AwesomeKM.
And I'm on Twitter at Noah_Saturn. That is spelled SATERN.
And we're on Instagram at We Don't Know What to Watch. And you can email us, we don't know what to watch at gmail.com. And until next time, keep watching.
And watch out for my precious hobbits.